Okay, everyone. I've ran out of ideas lately for YouTube videos, so this is gonna be off rip and everything. This is just gonna be me yapping for a while now. So if you're here, I hope you enjoy it. But you know, there goes a chicken. Caca. But anyway, so here's my dilemma with what's going on right now. It seems to me that like everybody is like kind of suffering and I'm some more than others, but I'm not sure exactly as to what the level of that suffering is. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure if people are like dying of hunger at massive rates or if people are just bored and everything seems worse than it actually is. I mean, we're bored of headline after headline of this fucking administration and billionaires and trillionaires, for fuck's sake. I mean, if you think about it, $1 trillion is so much money that you literally cannot fathom it as a human concept. You just cannot actually imagine what the fuck you do with $1 trillion. And yeah, is it a little bit over exaggerated? Maybe, because like, a lot of that is in the worth of a business or in the worth of like an investments and property value and things that are not like necessarily in your hand. It's not like you have a fucking bank account with like literally $1 trillion worth of stacked bills and shit, just hanging around ready for you to do fuck all with it. But you might as well, because the value of these things is just too monumental for you to even grasp. And by value, it's a fucking human born concept of what these things are, quote unquote, worth. So it's just kind of, that term vaporware. That's what this shit amounts to. I mean, there's really only one trillionaire in the world, and I think I heard recently that the news was so bad that he's not actually worth $1 trillion anymore. You know who I'm talking about, fucking Elon Musk and shit. I'm not sure of the validity of that. I've done a video in the past that was a lot more based in, history and data like that. And I gotta be honest. Part of what's making me feel a little, I guess, down in the dumps lately is that for as much effort as I put into that video, it's only got like 71 views or something like that right now. And it took me like a fucking month or some shit to make that like what, 32, 35 minute video or something like that. It took a lot out of me. And I've been kind of in this dry spell of not really sure what to do in terms of this YouTube thing. Like, I know it's a bit unrealistic to think, oh, one 30-ish minute video is gonna propel me to fucking Mr. Beast levels or some shit. But, I mean, I would have hoped maybe more than 100 views. I would hope. But that didn't happen, and it probably won't ever happen in the history of this channel. So I just have to take my licking and keep on moving and try different things, see what sticks. And that's the thing. So far, it's seeing what sticks and what doesn't. Seeing what works out. Trudging through the darkness of night to hopefully see the sunlight like you're seeing right now. Isn't that beautiful? Seriously, this fucking game is beautiful, and I don't see enough hype about this game. This game is called Solar Punk, by the way. I know what you're thinking. It's like, oh, so it's like Minecraft, but solar. I mean, kind of. If anything, I should have started with testing out like a let's play of this game, because I'm like, I like it. It has its flaws, but overall, I mean, it's a pretty decent game. I like it, and it gets the optimism flowing. It gets the hope that if this, if we keep going in this direction, we're definitely hitting dystopian levels of despair in the future. And from what I'm hearing or seeing online already, you know, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we're already in a dystopia, except it's not fucking cool. But, you know, at least if shit hits the fan and shit goes south, hopefully by then, you know, like you can see in this game, we'll have, you know, advanced, excuse me, we'll have like advanced enough technology that we can start over from scratch, but not really scratch, if you know what I'm saying. Like, you know, we can basically duplicate what our ancestors did without actually having to, you know, go through Mad Max levels of, you know, violence and scarcity and toughing it out like they did. I mean, like, some of our ancestors were farmers. Some of them, you know, I assume, you know, worked off the land, and that's how they got to own the land. Uh, and that's how they did it. Except now, in the future, hopefully, like this, yeah, the sun will be blazing at a fucking 1,000 degrees, but at the very least, we'll be able to work hard on the land, but we won't have to work as hard. If you get what I'm saying? Now, obviously, this game is not a representation of fucking, you know, exactly what's gonna be in reality. I view it as like a kind of training grounds as to the general aspects of the future. Like, as you can see there, it's a fucking mining operation on this one patch, and in this game, it doesn't run out. Like, you can just keep fucking mining and mining and mining the same little fucking what? 5 square meters of land of ore, and it'll never run out. So obviously it's a game at the end of the day. But isn't life a game? I mean, I tried to not subscribe to that kind of mindset because, you know, I don't like to think of life as a game. Ironically, that takes the fun out of it, you know? Because games, there are, you know, winners and losers, and yeah, that's how it works right now. I try to view life as more of a cooperative thing, you know? You start out, you know, and there are cooperative games, but you start out, you know, with your loadout of a family, and they work together to build you up to be, you know, someone that can carry on to the next generation and have a group of people that can help each other out and be there for each other and love each other and all that, you know, in terms of, like, you know, friends and family. Like, you know how your dad and mom have friends that they know that have been there through thick and thin. But what's frustrating me is that I haven't been seeing that much lately. You know, in terms of our generation, we've been kind of allowing these platforms to pull us apart bit by bit, you know? And if we allow them to pull us apart little by little, we're going to end up with this kind of situation like this game, except it's not going to be pretty. I mean, it'll be maybe pretty in a very, I don't know, cottage core, you know, farm with me, but it'll just kind of be like that one meme of like the guy with like the mask that's smiling, but behind it he's really crying. I mean, we're already there now, but it's just gonna be depressing because it's gonna be like fucking Interstellar, where people are, you know, even the crops aren't even taking hold in the sand or the soil or whatever. And I had, you know, a confession I must make is I had lofty dreams of pulling people together and figuring out a way to get out of this, but that's kind of fallen apart because I can't even get started. Like a lot of us, I can't even get our foot in the door, um, and it just feels like we've been shut out of every single opportunity that was not promised to us like we're entitled or anything, but just we've been shut out of every single chance that previous generations have had. Now, some people have some opportunities and are, getting to live a life of some kind. But even those people I hear from, and there is this lingering sense of they're living something that they themselves aren't completely convinced of, that there's something missing, you know? And it's like, it's got to mean something if the haves and the have nots, and I mean on the small scale, in terms of haves and have nots, like people who have jobs that is enough to maybe get them an apartment to live on their own, and the have nots of no job, living at home, not being able to get a job, or not even being able to scrounge up something from a side hustle or anything. Like, we're talking the really have nots, other than, what they're living through, and the blessings that they have. And then obviously the really have nots of people living on the damn street with no help whatsoever. Across the board, people are disadvantaged, disenfranchised, and most of all, disheartened with what the world is coming to. A shit show, a fucking circus. And it's like, that saying where he's like, "Oh, give them bread and beer and circus, and they will never revolt." Well, the fucking bread is turning stale. The beer is getting watered down, and the circus is getting fucking boring. Like, I can't tell you how much it pains me to think about having to look for a way out of this situation that works for not not only me, but for all of us, for the grand majority of people. Obviously, nobody's going to have the silver bullet to this fucking thing. But when the goal is to not allow a lot of people to starve, to give them housing, to help them get on their feet, to at least have a good job that pays well, that gives them the hope for a life that our parents had. And it's not even like, oh, they, some people like to complain like, oh, they had everything. They had everything. No, what they had was opportunities, and they took advantage of them. And thankfully, we are the result of that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here right now. My complaint is we aren't even being given the chance to become, you know, anything remotely like our parents did, or at least not to scale. You know, that's my big gripe with what's going on. And the problem I face right now is, from my point of view, we are all so scattered. And by we, I mean Generation Z. Gen Alpha, at least they're cooked collectively. And they have each other to band around. And they know what they're getting into, it seems. They are a little bit more aware of the situation they are about to find themselves in, and are seemingly actively preparing for it, while enjoying the brain rot as it comes through the slot machines. You know, at least they're aware enough that this is all ridiculous, that they are entering something that is fucked in the short term, at least, and are preparing themselves for a world that is not going to be, they see through the smoke and mirrors already, and are laughing at it, and are actively like looking into how are they going to work around it. And they have plenty of time, and they're taking advantage of that time to have fun, to will have fun in their own way, but to prepare themselves for this. We were fed promises, and we are in the middle of realizing that the shit they promised us ain't happening. It's never gonna get any better, and it will maybe not say never. There should always be hope, but that we are in the middle of figuring out what the fuck are we about. What are we gonna do? Because the promises they had and even the alternatives they suggested are coming up dry. And so we're in a fucked position, Gen Z, because not only is our attention span cooked beyond belief, but we are also probably some of the most internally hopeless generation in recent decades. Fuck the Great Depression. We have never lived in a more rich country, and yet we are basically the poorest in terms of the disparity of that wealth and where it is. You get what I'm saying? This fucking society is constipated, you know? And it just cannot shove out anything more than hollow entertainment. Anything more than placated virtue to the people that it should be providing answers to, solutions. Instead, they're hoarding the solutions in the service of making what little more money they can before the shit falls apart. Now, I've been ranting for a while, and of course, I don't want it to be all doom or shit, right? I want to light the way a little bit to a little bit of hope. Recently, I looked into it because I'm like, wait a minute. Something about this feels a little, history repeaty, cycles of society-ish. And it's a different country, but I mean, it's got to be significant. I looked into it. Hitler ruled Germany from 1933 to 1945. Now, I know you've seen them fucking historical videos of Hitler in Nazi Germany and how he had that bitch in a stranglehold. I mean, that shit was rough. that shit. Imagine you were living in prime time Nazi Germany and you saw these motherfuckers goose stepping through your fucking streets. Honestly, I would have thought it's over. It's wraps. We're donezo, and they're gonna take over the other countries. It's a wrap. We are not getting any better. If 1984 didn't come out later, which by the way was inspired by that, I would have been like, yeah, it's cooked. Humanity's cooked. Like from here on out, this motherfucker and his posse is just gonna have power forever and ever for the end of time, and it's only gonna get even worse over time, and there's just no recovering from it. We're in a downward spiral of hatred and vitriol, and I'm next on the chopping line, and there's just no hope if I were to see that shit, right? But yet, as much of a stranglehold as that evil motherfucker had in Nazi Germany, he only was able to rule that bitch for 12 years. Now, there are, specifics and extenuating circumstances that resulted in that. But generally, if that motherfucker could not rule, and his party, if he and his party could not choke the living shit out of that country for more than 12 years, well, guess what? Trump and his boys have been in office since 2016. Yes, we had Biden for a couple years, but that was like a filter, a stopper, a little bit of a delayed action, if you will. But they couldn't reverse much of what he did. If anything, when he got back into office, Trump, he reversed what Biden did. So it kind of amounted to a bit of a nothing burger. So we can kind of say that he's been in office since 2016. He had a ghost, presidency in Biden where they struggled to stop what was coming. So if he's been in office since 2016, guess what's coming up in 12 years from then? 2028. So if there's hope, a new dawn is coming. Do not lose out on hope, because what's coming is the light at the end of the tunnel. And if Hitler couldn't rule that shit for more than 12 years, guess what? Trump and his boys' time is running out. And if you pay even a little bit of attention to the news, you will see that that party, that system is crumbling. And sadly, a lot of people are going to be hurt in the collateral damage. Some people actively benefited from it. Others, just haphazardly, have benefited from the market he made. And it's not even a market he's making, it's more like a market he's destroying, but they've been on the up and up. So it's gonna, we're going through the birthing pains of the death of his reign, his on this country. And we are about to get a new, I wouldn't say savior, but a new turn, a new lease on this country. Because there is absolutely no way that he's going to get a third term. Even his most devout followers are starting to fall out of favor with him. And yes, he can try to rig the election, but by the time 2028 rolls around, his shit is going to fall apart so bad that they won't even want to rig it. Now, obviously, there's the threat of J.D. Vance coming on the scene and following what Trump started. But let's be honest, people are tired of their shtick. I think we can all unequivocally say that it's raps. It's raps for them. This chapter is closing out. A lot of people are gonna hurt from it, but those that come out on top from this horrible period will look back at this as a nightmare that should not be repeated in this country, and things are gonna change, and hopefully they will get better, and they will hopefully swing back in a direction. Oh, not just for Democrats or liberals. Nah, as you can see from Mamdani and a bunch of the new mayors that are running for election, things are switching in a different direction. We're not getting the same, but different, People are actually starting to look for new solutions, new types of leaders. Now, I gotta be honest, I would like to try to be one of those new types of leaders in the future, but as of the recording of this, I'm not there yet. I wish I was. I do believe I have a different way of viewing things, and if I understood the system a lot more, then, I would, have something worthwhile in terms of potential solutions and allocations of resources and things. I have beliefs, I have ideals. But what people need right now is the pivot, or the makings of a pivot. I will try to get better, as the years go on, and hopefully my time will come. But for now, just gonna be playing some games and trying to figure something out from here. And hopefully, I will see you guys on the way up. For now, this is Y.A.M.S, and I will catch y'all next time.